Hey there, I'm Roy Furr. This is Breakthrough Marketing Secrets, and it's Monday, which all those three things combined lead to one inevitable conclusion. It's Mailbox Monday. That's the day that I dedicate my episode to answering your questions about copywriting, marketing, business building, and more. Today's Mailbox Monday question comes from M. Roy, my biggest challenge comes down to converting traffic into clients. What do you think about lead magnets or high content value offers? Should an ad be just be about that, or about the product and then offer that? M. If you have a question you'd like to have me answer in an upcoming Mailbox Monday episode, you can check the link in the description to ask Roy your question. And yeah, let's dive into today's episode where we'll talk about lead magnets, value first marketing, plus a huge copywriting lesson from the very last sentence of that question.
These are the proven direct response marketing, copywriting, and entrepreneurship success strategies you can use today to write your own ticket and create the life you want. I am Roy Furr, and this is Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. Now, here's today's breakthrough.
Okay, so first things first. I'm a huge fan of lead magnets. Some of you might be thinking, what's a lead magnet? And then importantly, how do they work? So let's start there. A lead magnet, you're very familiar with it, I'm sure. It's a thing that a business gives you or a marketer gives you in exchange for entering your contact information into a form, or in exchange for permission to follow up. Now, this practice is way older than the internet. So you take a very classic John Caples ad, like they laugh when I sat down at the piano, but when I started to play. That was actually an ad that was selling a lead magnet. There was a little coupon in the corner. You can go back and you can look at the ad if you want. There's a little coupon in the corner where you would enter your name and your address. You would write your name and address on this little coupon, and you would send it back to the address on the coupon. And once they receive that, they would put your name in their database for marketing, and they would send you the sales letter, which would come across as looking like a report or something like that for a correspondence course in music. But the original John Caples ad was a lead generation ad for this essentially report on how to play piano, how to learn to play piano quickly, right? And so this has continued with the internet, and arguably it's become much more efficient with the internet, because I could say, for example, take today's episode, and I could say, I could put up a little web page that says, do you want to know how to use lead magnets to get clients and customers? Well, enter your email address here, and I'll give you instant access to my video about how to use lead magnets to get clients and customers, right? And then you would enter your email address, and this video would be on the next page, or I would send out an email with this video, right? So that's what a lead magnet is. It's really anything to entice someone to actually give you their contact information in exchange for permission for future marketing, right? So, they're giving it in exchange for the value that you're offering, right? But the future marketing is part of the permission that you get as part of the process. So, why am I a huge fan of lead magnets? Well, because one-shot sales are hard to make, and especially with the cost of paid traffic online, or with the cost of media in general, it is very hard to be profitable when you have to instantly make a sale based on somebody's initial engagement with your marketing message. So for example, if I'm selling a copywriting course and I go from you don't know me at all to, hey, you should buy my copywriting course, and there's nothing in between, that's going to be a very difficult sale to make, and it's going to cost me a lot of money on average to get each customer. But if I say, for example, here are 13 essential copywriting skills that you can get, and this is an example of a more complex lead magnet. It's actually an email series linking to 13 videos of these 13 essential copywriting skills, but it's something that I have out there. What I'm able to do is, with the initial ad or the initial traffic, I'm able to get them to say, hey, I'm interested in this thing. And then each one of those 13 touches works to build my relationship with the prospect so they know, like, and trust me more throughout the course of those 13 videos. And as their knowing, liking, and trusting of me grows, they're more likely to do business with me. Plus, I have this permission to market to them on an ongoing basis until they say stop, right? And so it becomes much more likely that each lead converts if you give yourself time for relationship building versus making that one-shot sale. And if you're running a client business, it can be even more important because the act of becoming a client of someone involves a lot more trust than you're typically able to achieve in an initial offer. And so that's why, for example, when I teach in the Client Getting Blueprint or Launch Your Client Business is kind of an introduction to the Client Getting Blueprint. One of the things that we get around to there, once we've really laid the foundation for the successful client business, is building out this thing called your keynote. And you may think of this like a webinar funnel, right? Like you offer a webinar, which is another form of lead magnet, where you teach someone how you get the specific result that they would hire you to help them get. And I don't want to go into too much detail about all of that content, et cetera. But the whole point is this is a form of lead magnet. And so to build a funnel where you promise the outcome achieved through your services, but the way that they learn about that outcome is through signing up for your webinar, your presentation, whatever you're going to call it. Well, that is a great way to get that initial interaction with a prospective client long before you ever ask them to take an action like sending you a big check in the mail. So I'm a huge fan of lead magnets. And I would say if you're going to do paid advertising, well, I know from speaking with people who have run a ton of traffic and who work with businesses to run their traffic, that it is very hard to make paid traffic work in most markets with most audiences unless you have some kind of email follow-up sequence in place. And so a lead magnet is a great way to do that. Now, I'm also a huge fan of value first marketing, which, going back to the initial question here, high content value offers, my interpretation of that is basically saying, hey, that's value first marketing. And so value first marketing is really about educating your customer, helping them become pre-motivated, pre-qualified, pre-educated about doing business with you, such that when they're actually having a conversation with you, they're basically just ready to sign the check, right? And that's an ideal state to be in, an ideal place to get your prospects to. So in the context of that, what it all comes down to is it needs to be about your core value equation. So your client, the transformation they desire, the outcome they desire, they're in this negative place and they want to go to this positive place. They're moving away from the negative, they're moving to the positive. They're moving away from a problem, they're moving to a solution. They're moving away from a state that feels like this emotional hell and they're moving to a state that feels like an emotional heaven, right? And what's important to note here, as I'm trying to answer this question from a principles and strategy basis, is that your entire business is really built around a single core value equation. Now, there may be some different manifestations of that core value. So if you help a business with their traffic, help a business with their conversions, help a business with their offer creation, economics, all that stuff, there may be different manifestations of that core value equation, but still the core value equation there is I'm going to help your business make a lot more money, right? You're in this problem state of you don't know how to make your business more profitable. I can offer the solution of making your business more profitable, right? That's a core value equation for somebody in maybe direct response marketing. Now, each particular offer, as they start to engage with your business and with your marketing, should only be a small natural next step. So if my core value equation is I help businesses make a whole lot more money through paid advertising, well, a very small natural next step from somebody just discovering me for the first time might be to watch a quick 10-minute training video on the 3 essential components of every successful paid traffic campaign, every wildly profitable paid traffic campaign, right? And that's a very little thing. It is a reflection of a manifestation of the core value equation, but it is not promising, let me take over all your marketing and advertising because you don't know how to run it, you dummy, right? Like that's not what we're trying to do in that initial step. Now, at some point down the line, they may eventually get to an offer that is, let me take over your marketing and advertising because you don't know how to run it, you dummy, right? But the initial value that we're going to provide is just, hey, if you enter your email address here, you'll get a quick 10-minute video that shows you the 3 essential components of all paid traffic campaigns, right? And so think about that as you're thinking about how do you walk someone through. And I actually have a training called the Value First Funnel Strategy that you could find at BTMS Insiders that goes into this, and it goes through this whole process of pre-motivating, pre-educating, pre-qualifying customers through education-based marketing. And yeah, I'm a huge component of that. And so in the context of all of this, I do want to address that last sentence of the question and the huge copywriting lesson that comes out of it that I think of very often. Should an ad just be about that, meaning the lead magnet, right? Or about the product and then offer that, right? So what I understand this question to be asking is, if I create a lead magnet, if I create a report to be downloaded. Let's go with the report. If I create this report to be downloaded, should I say, hey, I offer copywriting services and I would like you to hire me for a copywriting project that's going to be $20,000 plus 5% of revenue generated, and it's going to contain all of these different components. And by the way, I also offer this report about 3 ways that a copywriter can help you grow your business even before they write a single word of copy, right? So do you say all of that, or do you say, would you like to know 3 ways a copywriter can help you grow your business before they even write a single word of copy? Oh, enter your email address here. Well, maybe I kind of gave it away by how I set up that question. But there's a metaphor that comes up a lot in the context of selling all sorts of things, that if you're asking the client to buy before you've even started to engage with them at all or had a conversation or anything, you're essentially asking for marriage before asking for a first date, right? You're asking for this like ongoing commitment before asking to just like spend some time together and see if you are a fit. And if you think about someone doing that in a dating context, most people would run very far away from that person very quickly. Most prospective mates would run very far away from that person very quickly because even if there is an underlying understanding that, hey, if we're going on a date, there is the possibility of a lifelong relationship here. If you lead with, I want a lifelong relationship with you, there is a lack of social understanding there that reflects all the things that, could go wrong or that need to go right in order for a commitment like that to take place, right? So generally across the board, I would say that you want to only sell the next step, and you want it to be as low of a threshold as possible compared to the previous commitment. So your first sentence of your ad should sell the readership of the ad. The ad itself should sell the click to the landing page. The landing page should really only sell, opt in for this free report. The free report should maybe sell, now watch this, this additional informational video about, what you essentially need to do to succeed with this. Okay, and then the low threshold next step is, now that you've watched that video, the next best step is to have a quick conversation to see if there's a specific way or specific advice that we have that could help you out. Okay, and if there is specific advice that we have that could help you out, maybe the low threshold next step is let's have a conversation about what it would look like for us to help you implement this advice. And then only at that point does, hey, you should hire us to implement that advice become the next low threshold next step, right? And so you always want to only be selling the next step and not try to show your hand that you're going to be selling and selling and selling and selling. And this does apply in a lot of contexts. So, I was talking about ads, and it applies in the context of ads. A good ad will typically not actually sell the product. A good ad will only get someone to click through. It will sell the click. Opt-in pages should only sell what you're asking them to opt in for. Emails, again, like ads, should only sell the click. I've run a bunch of webinar campaigns, whether I wrote everything for the campaign or I just wrote emails to get people on, etc. The really important thing to remember is, like, before the webinar, all that you're trying to do is sell attendance to the webinar, and you shouldn't even talk about the product at all. Oftentimes after the webinar, you're just trying to sell them on watching the replay, at least for the first few days, and you're not even talking about the product at all. It's only once the webinar campaign is nearing its end and the deadline is quickly approaching that you really start to emphasize the offer in those emails. And it's the same principle, and it's hugely important if you're running anything like a product launch campaign or webinar campaign or anything like that, where you really diminish the likelihood that you're going to get quality attention if you try to sell too early. And it's the same thing. Like, this is why people sell free consultations and stuff as the initial appointment, even though there is an underlying understanding that this probably has something to do with a sales call, that if we offer this free consultation as opposed to a get on the phone with our sales team, that people are more likely to respond to the free consultation, right? So it's just about selling that next step and making it as low threshold of an offer as possible. So I hope that this is a good answer to this question. Biggest challenge comes down to converting traffic into clients. When you really think through this process, like, this is what it takes. This is the understanding that it takes. My call to action for you is to consider how you can use this. And, don't forget to like and subscribe so you can get more content like this delivered to you. And also, I will include a link in the description to the Launch Your Client Business free mini course that I do offer. It's really relevant to this, and it does not start with, build a lead magnet for your business, because you're not ready for that in most cases. Even if you already have a client business that is going, you may need to relay the foundation in order for it to be maximally successful. And that's what the Launch Your Client Business free mini course, even if it's relaunching, that's what it is built for. Once again, I'm Roy. This is Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. There's also a link in the description if you'd like me to answer your question on an upcoming Mailbox Monday episode. I will catch you again in the next episode. See you soon. Bye.
Thank you once again for tuning in to this daily episode of Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. Remember, check out the links with this episode for even more value. Now make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, and engage in every way you can to keep this show going and growing and delivering daily value to you. I'll catch you soon for your next big breakthrough.